Rodriguez Blanco, and I am the Career Center Director at West LA College. And as I mentioned to you, I'll be presenting today about strategies for a successful job search. All right, so what's on the menu? So I'll be going over, creating a job search plan, where to find jobs, and some job search tips. And then if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. I will try to monitor the chat, but if not, I can get to your questions at the end. All right, so we'll get started with the first one. So how to create a job search plan. Creating a job search plan is really will keep you on track during your job search, right? You want to develop your own schedule by committing to at least some of the following activities, right? Looking for the type of work, setting a schedule, getting organized, creating a resume, research an employer. Just, know that job search, it's a job in itself. You have to be committed. You have to, set time and really, sit down and take the time to really look for the job and tailor your resume to that. So the first one on creating a job search plan is knowing the type of work that you're looking for, whether it's full-time, part-time, seasonal, whether it's a temporary job, internship, at will. Knowing the type of work will really, help you decide what jobs to apply for. So deciding what kind of work you're interested on, and how far you would travel for work, right? Deciding what type of jobs interest you the most. You want to keep your options open, but you also want to be realistic. And so you want to find out more about the jobs that interest you by, going online or talking to people in the industry, talking to people in the company. You can, find out more about the jobs that interest you by going online and find out whether this is the job that is for you, right? And then if it's not for you at all. And so you want to consider what work pattern you're open to, as I mentioned before, right? Whether it's full-time, part-time, contract, self-employed, or it's just an internship. You just want to kind of get the sense of what that is before committing to a full-time job. You also want to consider making an appointment to see someone at your school's career center or a counselor, and discuss your options. A lot of schools have a career center or all of the schools, have a counselor that can help you really sit with you and explore your career options, take a career assessment, help you research potential employers, and help you read, help you find ways to read in professional journals or kind of guide you in the right direction. And also there's, besides if, for whatever reason, there's not a counselor, there's not a career center at your particular school, there's always, workforce development centers that can support you with that as well. And you want to stay open to new opportunities and possibilities throughout your, your job search. And so you also want to know what is in demand, right? You want to find out which jobs are in demand, which jobs have the largest employment, which jobs are declining. Researching the job market will also help you make your search more effective. There's a few sites that can provide you with that, with the fastest growing careers, the careers with the most openings, the careers with the largest employment, the careers with declining employment. So to give you an example of what that looks like, I'm providing you with, this is an occupational snapshot, and is what they call a short-term occupational snapshot of a 2-year, right? There's more long-term snapshot, and so the occupational titles and job openings may change, but this is a 2-year frame. And so here we can see, and I'll put the links in the chat as to where I got this from, which is, it's from the EDD website, the California EDD government website. But I'll put it at towards the end so you can search search for particular occupation you're looking for, and you will be able to know, right, what is the total job openings in the next 2 years? What is the medium hourly wage? What is the median hourly, annual wage? And so from this list, we can see that within the next 2 years, the fastest growing occupations here at the bottom is, we see it's cooks and restaurants, right? I mean, cooks at restaurants. So we see that it's currently, this is the estimated employment in 2022, and is estimated to grow to, 11%. But also right here, we see that fitness trainings are another area of, I mean, there's fewer jobs, but it is growing. The employment is growing. And so you can have an idea on, on what it's out there, right? This helps you really kind of get your jobs and your job. And if we can take a step back, it can also help you before select the career option you want to go into, right? So if you're just starting school, if you want to know, okay, what is the future look like after I finish this training, after I finish this career, what opportunities am I going to have? And so knowing this data, and a lot of times, your professors provide you with this information, or it's something, like I said, you can research beforehand, and it will help you know, right, what to expect in the near future. So the occupations with most job openings in the next 2 years, from here we see that our home health and personal care aides. As we know, the healthcare industry has been growing and continue growing. I mean, we had a huge increase during the pandemic, but it continues to grow, and there's always a shortage of job seekers. And so if that's a career option you're taking, there's a lot of opportunities out there for you. All right. So the next step to create the job search plan is to set a schedule. And so, we want to make a weekly or daily schedule of your search activities. I will put in the chat, let me give me 1 second, a worksheet that will help you do that. And so the worksheet will kind of take you step by step. And so you want to work out a job search timeline, right? And you want to make sure, if you already don't have one, a lot of us already do, but if you don't have one, you want to make sure you have an email account. And so, for example, here's an example, right, how you can create your own timeline, right? I don't know, week 1, you can take 30 minutes out of your day, right, and review any new job postings from online search engines. You can type out the list of jobs with their job description and web link. What I put in the chat, the worksheet also has kind of like a template of how to keep track of the jobs you're searching for. Then you can take, maybe 20 minutes daily to review, right? Maybe the classified ads, circle jobs you want to apply for. Then you want to work on your list of companies and organizations that you really, really want to work for. And then kind of make a list of the recruiters that you need to contact. And so from the worksheet that I provided you, you can, maybe week 1, you can do step 1, right? Find job postings. Week 2, you can do step 2, identify local employers. Week 3, you can do step 3, begin networking. Week 4, you can, target your resume and really focus on updating and fixing your resume, or creating one if you don't have one. Week 5, you can put together, right, steps 1 through 4 and start applying for jobs. And so this guide will help you really, create the timeline. So, there's a saying that says, by failing to plan, you plan to fail. So this can also be true to your job search process, right? You have to be organized and going, you have to, you have to really get yourself, get everything that is needed. Like I mentioned, you have to, be organized and going about your challenge in finding work. You will find it a lot easier, to succeed, right? But you have to be consistent. So as I mentioned, if you don't have an email, make sure you set up an email account, right? Most employers these days require you to email your job applications. If you're applying for jobs online, you will also need an email address. Try to use an email address that is professional and suitable for work purposes. Do not use inappropriate or silly names in the email or nicknames, right? So if possible, you want to have like your first name, last name, right? That will be ideal for your email. So there's email providers accounts that you can open, Outlook, Gmail, Yahoo. Some of us, that create our email address way long back. We have Hotmail, but again, you want to make sure that you have an appropriate email address. All right. Next would be, the next step would be getting organized. So how do we get organized? Let's see. So getting organized, you want to organize your the paperwork you need, right? Get organized, gather your supporting documents all together electronically. You can use a USB drive, or you can have a hard copy. I love the cloud. So if you have a Live or Hotmail account, you can get access to OneDrive. If you have a Gmail account, you can get access to Google Drive. And so you want to save it. You can save it there, because if, let's say, you lose your USB drive, that's it. Your information is lost. You won't be able to recover it. Whereas if you save it on the cloud, you can always, have it there and saved in the cloud, and you can access it through any device. I love the cloud, so you'll probably hear me, repeating it a few times. So like I mentioned, you want to get you want to get your resume, cover letter. You want to get your professional and personal references. You want to get any certificates. Kind of start writing down your qualifications, skill certificates, and awards that you have. And you want to call it like your employment file, right? So and like I mentioned, many employers now receive details via online portals, via email, right? They want you to upload it online. So like I said, it will be wise to save all your documents where you can be accessible electronically. And if if you apply and if you get the interview, you want to make sure you take hard copies of your resume. So make sure that you again keep your originals safe, and then all together when you go into an interview. All right, so another step to create your job search plan is to create your resume. I won't go into a lot of details. I know there was a resume workshop. I think yesterday and today already passed. And so I'm sure that the recordings will be available for you guys to see, how to create a resume. We also have, like I mentioned, I work for West LA College. We have a lot of workshops, and we open anyone from the community to come. And so I can put more information on that, and I'll put my email if you're interested. We already had a resume workshop last week, but we have a cover letter workshop coming up next week. Okay, so you want to be prepared, right? So prepare your or update. So create, if you don't have one, or update your resume, right? Your resume is very important. The importance of a resume, of a good resume, right, cannot be underestimated. Your resume's job is to get you an interview, right? So a resume is very important tool for in your job search. It is your advertising brochure, right? And you need to be well prepared. So also, your skills must be highlighted, and you have to remember you need to tailor to each job you're applying for. So you want to make sure that your resume reflects the skills that particular employer or that particular job is looking for. The way resumes, are put together has changed, so you don't want to use an old one or something you had 5 years ago. You need to be consistent in updating and writing your resume to suit that particular job and that particular employer. And so also another tip that I want to say is do not fear in changing directions, right? You can reposition any experience by focusing on transferable skills. And so there's a lot of sites that can kind of help you. Okay, if maybe the job that you're applying for is, I don't know, in the dental field, or like a medical assistant, but before you worked as a cashier, and so you learned customer service skills in that particular job. So knowing how to, um, uh, using your past experience and focusing on what transferable skills you can input in the resume for the job that you're applying for. And so again, you want to make sure also that your resume has a nice looking template. There's tons of available templates online or resume builders for free online. Also, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Word, and Google Docs have free templates for you to use and select from to create your resume. And you have to remember, right, that your resume should be easy to scan and digest in 15 to 30 seconds. That is when an employer is looking through resumes, that's the time they take to kind of see the resume. If they see, what the format is, doesn't look great, they're just gonna, go to the next one. If, at the very beginning, there's different fun colors or whatnot, the same, they're gonna be, you have to take your time to really build your resume to capture the eyes of the employer. And so, you wanna, again, right, use what's out there. There's a lot of great resume builders and amazing resume formats. Okay, so the next step to create a job search plan is to research employers. All right, so we want to research employers. So you want to be asking this question, to yourself: what information should I be looking for, and where should I find it? So what information you want to look at, what products and services, the employer has, in what industry, are they part of, right? The healthcare industry, or the, business industry? What type of jobs do they have? What is the company's mission and what are their values? How long have they been in business? The number of employees and what are their hiring policies? And also, there's the employer reviews, right? To kind of see what people out there, whether it's customers, whether it's employees, are saying about them. Where do you find this information? You can find this information in the employer's website, and the Chamber of Commerce directories, industry specific publications, and you can be able to kind of find the information about the particular employer that you're interested in applying. All right, the next the next thing will be where to find jobs. Okay, so we're gonna learn different options of finding jobs. I will go through each one. So we have online search, we have employment agencies, we have job fairs, we have networking groups. All right, so online job search. My PowerPoint stuck. All right. So you want to use online resources to make connections and learn about jobs. Some of the tools you should use to make the most of the internet during your job search are, companies' websites, social media sites, job boards or job banks, online protocols, and search engines. And so a lot of companies can help you learn more about their business organizations, right? The company's website is the first place you should go to research an employer, as I mentioned before. The quality and amount of information on the site also varies widely. Right? Some employers have like everything: who works there, who is their, their staff, or some of them are very limited as to what they have. But you will often find their vision and mission statements, right? Like, history of the organizations, right? Name of key leaders and supervisors, what are their goals, and a lot of times they also have the job postings within their site. Another option is social media sites. So you have LinkedIn, you have Twitter, but LinkedIn is a more of a professional social media site where you have a lot of job openings. But sometimes, Twitter and Facebook also may have some, information on job ads. So let's see. Also, you have the job boards, or some places they call it job banks, but it's here. Here is more of a job board. And there are the most common tools for job search on the internet. So most let you search keywords and find jobs. Most let you search by location, by industry, by field. by a certain position listed. There's a lot of job boards, a lot of schools, may have a free job board for you to, have access to. For example, here at Westlake College, we have a job board that we not only have it free of access for our students, for alumni, but also for the community members. And so if you are ever interested, I mean, there's tons of jobs available all the time. I put the link in the chat. If you're not a student at our college, you can freely sign in, create an account for free and search all the jobs that have been exclusively posted by our employer partners. So we have also, another easy way, if you're still reading newspapers, magazines, or trade journals, right? You can also, a lot of times you can find jobs there. A lot of employers are now online, but I've seen also job postings in the online protocols. Search engines. So we have, we have Google, Bing, Yahoo are examples of popular search engines and are the main tool to find information online. So you want to search for keywords, you enter and create it, they'll create like a list of, of options for you to click on. You can use this to track down jobs and learn more about companies as well. Let's see. So as I was mentioned, like the job boards, you can, do a job, what can you do on a job board? You can do, search and apply for jobs, post your resume and get LMI. LMI is labor market data. As I showed you previously, that's where you can find like what is happening in the industry, what is what is the data saying, like what is the projections of jobs within that industry. Type of job boards or banks, you have Indeed, you have Monster, you have Career Builder, you have Glassdoor, you have ZipRecruiter, and the type of state and national job banks is edd.california.gov, Career One Stop, USA Jobs. Those are a few to mention. Okay, so the next is employment agencies. Another place to find jobs is, employment agencies. So recruiting and staffing services can be excellent resources in your job search. The type of employment agencies are recruiting services or staffing agencies. So they focus on matching your skills with the job openings or of employers or companies. The employer generally pays them a fee, so there's no cost to you. And so there's, good benefits in going to a recruiting, service. You have, you have options of permanent full-time positions in the recruiting services, right? They recruit, screen, and then refer the candidates to the employer for consideration, and then the employer kind of, follows in the next steps. And so they often get access to jobs that are not advertised. And then, again, they're a third party recruiting firm. And so again, they're working to match your skills and long-term goals to a job. Staffing agencies or staffing services, match workers with short-term or temporary to permanent positions. They're often known as contract firms or employment agencies. When you finish a short-term work assignment, the agency looks for another assignment for you. The benefit of using a staffing service in doing temporary work is that you gain work experience, right? You develop your skills, you obtain training, you increase networking contacts, you may earn money, right, while you still look for more of a permanent job, and you may be able to get more flexible hours, also working conditions, and let's see. Now, the only thing is that temporary employees generally do not receive paid days off. They do not, most of the time, offer health insurance. Some make it available after you work for a set, period of time. And so it's always good to, to ask those questions once you're looking for or you get assigned to the job. Okay. And so tips for working with employment agencies. So before you start working with the employment agency, you find out what services you can expect and what will be expected of you, right? Make sure you ask whether it will cost you anything. A lot of times, like I mentioned, it doesn't cost you anything, but you want to make sure that that is set, upfront. For short-term contract work, you want to ask about the pay rate, like I mentioned, right? The benefits, the length of the assignment. Also let them know the hours and days you're available to work and if you're available overtime, and your transportation and salary needs. Some additional tips is to be professional, right? Treat agencies as you would treat a potential employer. In the case of a temporary agency, they will be your employer, right? So they're the one paying you, not the employer directly. You want to be available, right? Most agencies expect you to be available when they offer you work. If you turn down more of your offers, they may not be as quickly to consider you for future offers. Expand your job search. Do not use agencies as your only job search tool. But like I mentioned previously, there's a whole lot of job search tools and job boards that are available to you for free. And let's see. All right, and then check your benefits, right? Short-term wages may reduce benefits such as unemployment insurance, but they may also help you extend length of time that you can receive them. So before accepting or rejecting work, check with the agency from where you're receiving benefits, if that's your case. All right, let's see. The next place where you can find jobs is job fairs. And so, job fairs, there are an opportunity for job seekers to speak directly to employers that might have job openings, but they can be a mix of, they can be a mix of experience, right? So it's important to have the right expectations for what you can and cannot do at a job fair. You want to set a plan for before, during, and after the job fair. Another thing that we're having at West is we're having a job fair, a job and career fair on April 12th, and that is open again for students, alumni, and we have opened it for the community. We have currently about 25 employers register, and so I will be also putting I'll put my email, and you can, if you're interested in that, you can also email me, and we can I can provide you with the information of that. Again, we want to expand all the resources that we get from our employer partners to anyone in the community, because I feel, we feel like it's important for us to share what's happening. I mean, we're a community college, so, we want to provide to the community as well. So as I mentioned, the job fairs are held by many organizations. So they're an opportunity for the job seekers to speak directly to the employers, right? That might have job openings. And you want to expect to build your professional network. So let's say that you're not ready to apply, or you're not sure, you still want to go dress professional and introduce yourself to potential employers, answer employer questions, get information and leads that are not available on the employer website. Do not expect to have on the spot interviews, but be prepared just in case. A lot of the times, for the job fairs, just to kind of get the information, get the network. Sometimes there's, employers that do offer interviews on the spot. And do not expect also to be given a job offer right there on the spot. Again, sometimes it happens, but not often. The employers, there's a lot of employers that have like a set of procedures they have to take before they do, offer job, they do offer a job. So before the job fair, if you want to make sure that if there's a registration option, you want to register, right? Even though there's not always required, having your name on the list is always good. And you want to again research the participating employers. You want to find out ahead of time which employers are hiring folks with your skills. Even if the company's not on the list of target employers, treat them as if they were, right? You want to know your career objective. You want to make a list of questions for employers when you go to the before you go to the fair. You want to ask about how are they recruiting and hire people with your skill set, right? Your target employers would likely have similar hiring practices. And so you want to also polish your resume and practice your elevator pitch. Begin with a firm handshake, a good eye contact, use a clear voice, and provide the employer with like concise and relevant information. And practice, like I said, is not expected, but you want to be prepared if there's interview on the spot. Practice some interview responses. During the job fair, you want to dress professionally. You want to, bring several copies of your resume. You want to bring a pen, paper for notes. You want to talk to, recruiters. You want to kind of walk around the different, tables. You want to get business cards. If the employer has it, names, contact information. And after meeting someone, you maybe want to take, a few notes. If you want to, what was it that you discussed with them? Do you want to commit to follow up? So having their contact information is great. Be professional, right? Be polite and positive. And like I said, if there is any employer that really catches your eye, you want to maybe send them a thank you email after the fair, so make sure you organize the information. And like I said, kind of like something that you can remember that you discussed with that particular employer or a particular job that catch your interest. Okay. Another place where to find jobs is also the networking groups. So networking, there's some networking facts. So when you're networking, right, it's not the same as asking for a job, right? Usually your networking contacts will not be potential employers. Well, sometimes they could be. But networking helps you learn inside information about jobs that are being created. It helps you tap into, the hidden network, the many jobs that are never advertised. It's also helpful for ongoing professional and personal development. And oftentimes, as I mentioned, an employer who is not hiring today may be looking for someone like you tomorrow. And so having those connections and, the professional connections help you be on someone's mind and they can think about you if they have something coming up in the future. All right, we're coming to an end. So the last thing I'll be talking to you about is job searching tips. And so let's see. So getting improving your job search. So if let's say you're not even getting, I don't know, an interview, you're not getting results, you're not you haven't updated your resume, you don't know whether you have, what your online image is, you think you're overqualified. So if you are not getting interview invitations after you're applying, or you've been applying for a while, you want to look into what is a problem. There may be a problem, right? Is it that there may be a problem with your resume or cover letter, right? Are you tailoring your materials to each job post that you're applying for? Remember, if you may have, or you will have, multiple resume copies, because and cover letters. Every resume and cover letter should be tailored to the job that you're applying for. So because you want to show the prospective employer why you're the perfect person for the job. How are your skills qualify you for that job? So if your skills or experience are in an obvious match, you need to kind of connect the dots to the employer in your resume, in your cover letter. And so another option, another reason maybe why you're not getting the interviews or you're not getting any responses is maybe have you looked at your resume? Did you check for grammars, as I mentioned previously, right? An employer will look at your resume for 15 to 30 seconds max. And so if it's poorly written, if it has typos, right, then they're just gonna go to the next person. So you want to have a friend or relative, right? Multiple, if it's more than 2 people, great. Look over your materials, right? A fresh eye fresh eye may catch, right, errors that you miss, may catch grammars, because if you write I don't know, there's like the word to, if you write it TOO, or, if you write it, the number 2, it won't be catched by, the spell checker. So you want to, make sure that you have someone else look at your resume before you submit your application. If for any reason you have gaps in your employment history, you want to consider using a functional resume format instead of a chronological one to highlight skills and accomplishments rather than job history. And you also want to make sure that you're communicating what's special and unique about you. What is it that you have to offer, right? Is not, if you're not sure where to start, you want to also maybe, take a skills assessment, right? Go see your counselor, go see your career center if your school has one, and really, for you to kind of get a sense of like what is it that you have, what skill sets you have and how you can translate that into resume. And also using the right keywords. Many online job boards use keyword matching system, and it's automatic. So there's not a person going to each resume. They have kind of those different steps. First is that automated keyword matching system. Just going through resume, see if they have any matching keywords from the job post. And so, keywords can be found again in the job post, right? In the job description. And so you want to use those keywords to describe your skills, your experience, and education. And so, again, how can you strengthen your job search? So you want to use strategies that work. You want to make sure that you update your resume, right? You want to have a solid resume, because that is the most important part of finding a job, because it's the employer's first impression of you. And so you want to make sure all of your information is current and accurate. Like I mentioned before, double check any grammar, formatting errors. You want to also, as I mentioned before, right, make sure you tailor your resume, your cover letter. This material should always be specific to the job that you're applying for. You want to, you can save kind of general copies of each resume and then kind of tweak them to better fit the specific responsibilities and qualifications for the job you want. And you want to search for the job posting, right, for keywords that you can add to your resume, right? This can help you get passed through, as I mentioned, right, the applicant tracking system if they have one. You want to be prepared for anything. Throughout your job search, you may be surprised by what happens. For example, if a company is urging, they're hiring, they have an urgent need to hire, they may ask you for an interview like right away. Likewise, a company may get back to you within a job offer after months your interview. So you want to be, flexible and ready for the unexpected, and that will help you improve your chances of getting a job. I know I mentioned before, right? Act kindly to everyone when entering a business, when talking to an employer, when talking to, whether it's a recruiter. You want to be kind to everyone you interact with. You'll never know if they will have input on an employer's hiring decision. The next will be apply for jobs you are underqualified for, right? So although you should direct your focus on jobs you're qualified for, still feel free to apply to jobs where you may not check of every single requirement. If you think you're a good fit for the job, the employer may decide to give you a chance. So you'll never know if you refrain from applying. The worst thing they can say is no, but you should take the chance to still apply for that. Right, the next one will be send a follow-up email. So after talking to a recruiter, talking to an employer, attending a job fair, as I mentioned before, right, or you have an initial interview, always send a follow-up thank you email the next day, explain that you're still interested in the position and enjoy speaking with them. This will show them that you're, you're professional. And so you want to make sure that you get their business cards, you want to get their information. Let me see. All right, next one will be learn job keywords. Since search engines and career websites use keywords to help you find jobs, right? Learn which keywords are applicable to the kind of jobs you're looking for, right? So you want to play around with different job titles that are similar to find wider range of job postings. Another will be to ask for an informational interview. Reaching out to companies for informational interviews is a great way to show them that you're interested and you want to get to know them. You want to get to know them and learn more about their organization. And so by making a good impression during the meeting, they may remember you when they have a job opening. And be mindful of your online presence. Some hiring managers look at an applicant's social media to learn more about them. So always be mindful of the type of content you share on social media. Keep it professional. And if you don't want an employer to see your postings, make sure that your profile is set to private. All right, so I think that we came to our last slide. So is there any questions?